Hey everybody, and welcome to Acts chapter 18 of our devotional study, going all the way through the book of Acts. In this chapter, we're going to start in verse 5. We see Paul heading out to Corinth, where he's trying to minister to a group of Jews and teach them the gospel. And it says, "But when Silas and Timothy came down from Macedonia, Paul began devoting himself completely to the word, solemnly testifying to the Jews that Jesus was the Christ. But when they resisted and blasphemed, he shook out his garments. He said to them, 'Your blood be on your own heads. I'm clean. From now on, I will go to the Gentiles.'" So much has happened with Paul. And finally, in these specific discussions, he just says, look, forget it. This is insane. I know I come from a Jewish background, and I know that you people mean so much to me. But right now, I'm fed up. I'm moving on. I'm going to speak to a different group of people. And then it says in verse 7, it says, "He left there. He went to the house of a man named Justus, a worshiper of God, whose house was next to the synagogue. And Crispus, the leader of the synagogue, believed in the Lord with all of his household. And many of the Corinthians, when they heard, were believing and being baptized. And the Lord said to Paul in the night by a vision, 'Don't be afraid any longer.'" Check this out. "But go on speaking and do not be silent, for I am with you. And no man will attack you in order to harm you, for I have many people in this city." It's interesting, the dynamic that changes in our lives sometimes when we just feel like we have more help or we've got somebody on our team. I have a son and a daughter. My son's 5. He's never been a good sleeper. My daughter's a great sleeper, but my son's never been a good sleeper, and it's still 50-50 shot whether or not he'll wake up in the middle of the night. And when he does wake up, and if I'm the one that takes him back to bed, which should be more often than it is, he always has a complaint. It's a bad dream. It's my bed's too hot, it's too cold, my pillow is this, the dog made this sound. And a lot of times I'll go in and I'll lay down next to him and I'll fall asleep just because I'm so tired. And it's funny how if I'm with him, even though the circumstances haven't changed, right? The bed is still hot or it's still too cold, the dog is still in the room, bad dreams happen. But it changes everything for him when I'm in there. There's a peace and there's a comfort simply being reminded that I am on his side, that I'm immediately next to him, that if he needs me, he can turn over and he can touch me. The same can be said for us in our relationship with God, and what I believe that Paul is experiencing in this moment. He's hit this peak emotionally where he's so frustrated, and he's believed and had such conviction in his mission. And now that he finds himself in the place that he anticipated he would find himself, he's not being received. The gospel isn't being received. It's actually being actively turned away. I wonder if God isn't trying to talk to Paul in this way. He definitely is. But I wonder if God isn't trying to talk to us in the same way that he was talking to Paul in this story, and that he just wants to remind us that he's with us, that he's on our side, that we shouldn't quit and become weary in doing good, as Paul would say in Galatians chapter 6. But instead, we should continue to go forward because there's a harvest. There's something worth the fight and the struggle on the other side of this. And then even if you just go a couple scriptures down, it says, "And then they came to Ephesus, and Paul left them there. And now he himself entered into the synagogue, and he reasoned with the Jews." He bounces back to the mission because he's been reawakened to the fact that God is with him. Even a guy like Paul, who spent time planting churches, dedicated his life to this in the mission field, needs that reminder every once in a while. I wonder if you and I just could use that reminder right now. He's with us. He hasn't left us. He's in love with us.